All right, we are here now. As you can see on the screen, we're gonna get into a lot of reading. Okay, there's a whole lot that I am instructed to bring to you today. This is an offshoot from yesterday's video I started it yesterday. Okay, of course I have not gotten to upload it yet. But you should have both of them come tomorrow. Okay, today is Sunday, 6/1/25. I did upload a physical video earlier today. I think I uploaded two, um, but only one of them was recorded today, and that was the last one, I think. Anyway, I'm not gonna do too much talking, people, in the beginning of this, cause, like I said, I gotta read. Okay, this is the is a screenshot of the cover. All right, the religious ceremonies and customs of several nations of the known world. Okay, now that is the three parts. Okay, you have your Africa, your Asia, Eurasia. Okay, Africa. You have your European islands over there. Okay, you have the three parts. Okay, that's the known world. Okay, that was the world that was known unto several of the nations. Okay, primarily the worst of the heathen from the far north. Okay, the nation that's from the far north. Okay, that's not the Americas. Okay, no, is in the cold regions. Okay, all right, like the Netherlands. Okay, so anyway, um, this is why they ended up calling the Americas the New World, okay? Because it was new unto them, and because we were born into their world. Understand what I'm saying, okay? Times of the Gentiles, it's their world. Even when the Messiah was born upon the earth, he was born during the times of the Gentiles. He was born in the Roman era, okay? That was after the Greek era. That was the time, okay? That was the beginning of the times of the Gentiles, starting with the Greeks, okay? Time. And then a time times, that's your Roman era, okay? During the time that the Messiah was born. That's why he said that I am not of this world. Okay, my kingdom is not of this world. Okay, because the earth had been given over into the hands of the Gentiles. Okay, so this video is going to be about breaking down how in the hell did the Gentiles end up with the reins of the earth? Okay? How did the earth go into the hands of the wicked? And we're not gonna really get into who had the earth before, but we gonna solidify who had the reins of the earth, because that be us, okay? The true biblical people. All right? This whole entire time, we've been going through Jacob's trouble. Okay? We are the ones that the Gentiles stamped out and usurped and set themselves on top of us. Okay? And imposed their reality. Okay, this is something that the nations, all people, all humanity is gonna have to understand, because you are misled. You seem to think that this is the real reality. It is not, okay? It is an illusion, because much of the history in how this reality came about has been hidden, but it is no longer hidden, okay? It's back with us, his hidden ones, okay? And we're instructed to bring it forward, okay? This is what we are tasked with, in this time. Okay? We are the hidden ones of eternal benevolence, the vessels of mercy. Okay? We demonstrate his attributes. Okay? We demonstrate the attributes of loving kindness. Okay? We have the character, attributes of the Holy Spirit. Okay? We're going to get into a lot, people. All right, so like I said, I did not want this intro to be long, but I really wanted to clarify what this video is about. Okay? We're going to get into a lot, as you can see. Okay? The religious ceremonies and customs of the several nations of the known world. All right? Now, I do want to apologize ahead of time. Some of this material is very difficult for me to read. Okay, I have issues with Old English. All right, and text is kind of small for me. My eyes is I probably need glasses. So anyway, work with me, people. I probably won't be perfect in reading this, okay? Now, the wars ratified on account of the establishment of the Inquisition. All right. Now, this book is gonna go into, see, you people you people seem to think that the Inquisition was done in righteousness, that it was righteous to you know stamp out those who were called witches, stamp out those who were called heretics. Okay, you need to understand that those who were called witches, those who were called heretics, were actually the holy people of the true and living God. Okay, so the Inquisition was not righteous. All right, you need to understand that the Jesuits of the Inquisition, those who were performing tortures and stealing, pillaging, raping, robbing, murdering, doing all of these heinous things, this was not righteous. Okay, I find myself wondering, like, why do I have to tell people that murdering in the name of God is not righteous? But that's how corrupted the mentality is these days. Okay, people seriously think it's a righteous thing to shed blood, simply because they have God's name in their mouth, or they have the Messiah's name in their mouth. Like, that gives them the credence, that gives them the go ahead. Hey, we doing this, and it's a holy war. There's no such thing. He said, "Thou shalt not kill." Okay, so everything that these people have done has been blasphemous. Okay, now let's go ahead and read to you the type of people that they looked for in order to perform their inquisition. They didn't want people that were merciful. See, they did not want anyone that had any kind of the attributes of the Holy Spirit. They didn't want holy people. Okay, so they wanted the worst of the heathen. They wanted people that lacked compassion. They wanted people that lacked mercy. They wanted people that lacked empathy, that seared their conscience. They don't hear from their conscience. These were the type of people that they were looking for to perform the Inquisition, okay? And to go after the holy people and stamp us out, okay? So that they can take over. All right, now. All right. To this war, which had been carried on openly against the, I don't know what that word is, succeeded that of the Inquisition, which completed the ruin of the unhappy surviving. They called us heretics because our pure gospel was completely contrary to their perversion, that they were imposing. So they called us heretics, okay? And they were outlawing our records, okay? It had been established sometime before by the authority of Innocent the Third. See, they take on the name, okay? They take on the name verbally. The authority of Innocent the Third, okay? This dude was nothing innocent. There was nothing innocent about this dude, okay? The Pope, considering that how much forever the power of the original people might be weakened by open force, yet great numbers of them would still survive, who would uh per goodness, I don't know what that is. PERS. I guess it's hard to read that. Pursuit would who would I don't know what that is. In the same opinions. Okay, hold on. Yet great numbers of them would still survive, who would something in the same opinions and profess or process their doctrine in private. Possess their doctrine in private. Felt it necessary in order to put a stop to this and every other kind of heresy, to establish a standing remedy uh, via a tribunal composed of persons uh, something, bro. It's hard for me to even see this to put it together. All right, should be the detecting and punishing of heretics, okay? So they were seeking us out so they could punish us, okay? To affect this, it was absolutely necessary that that these persons should be wholly dependent on the court of Rome and entirely devoted to its uh, interest, that they should not be distracted by other business. This is the people they were looking for. Okay, to effect this, it was absolutely necessary that these persons should be wholly dependent on the court of Rome, okay? Order followers. They wanted obedient order followers. They didn't want somebody that would think for themselves, okay? And entirely devoted to Rome's interest, okay? That they should not be distracted by other business or taken off by other avocations. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. It was proper for them to be mean and insignificant in outward appearance, to the end that they might look upon an employment as honorable. Okay? Look upon an employment as honorable, which in those days was wholly confined to the detecting of heretics, the holy people. Okay? It was necessary that they should be persons who did not know father or mother, brother, sister, or brother, and bound by no manner of ties, to the end that they might not have least regard or consideration for any person whatsoever, that they should be hard hearted, okay? That they should be hard hearted, inflexible, of a beast uninformed, okay, of a beast, or what does that say? Uh, is that Breast? Breast, uninformed with pity. Okay, a heart uninformed with pity. Okay, yes, like no compassion in your heart whatsoever. No pity, okay, of a breast uninformed with pity or compassion, and that because they intended to set up the most severe and rigorous tribunal, okay, the most severe and rigorous tribunal, okay, that had ever been established. Okay, this is the Inquisition, all right? Started with Rome, okay? And then you had your revived Roman Empire because they did it over here, and we going to get into it, okay? They did it over here in the final part, in the fourth part, to the holy people in these lands, okay? We already went through the papal bull yesterday, actually kind of showing what they did over here in the fourth part, okay? So we kind of going back in time, all right, to show you the start of it, all right? Now, that had ever been established. Let me get a drink of water. In a word, it was necessary that they should be very zealous for religion of a mean capacity, but such whose interest it might be to do all that lay in their power to extirpate the heretics, okay? Literally, like exterminate us and inflict as much pain as possible while doing it, okay? See, this is what they're pushing in the Left Behind series that's coming. Okay? They're pushing that this is coming for the Christians. But see, this is how Christianity was spread. So, how is that possible? You walking around here with a religion that was spread in this manner. The reason you got your Christianity today and all of your various different religions is because of this. Okay? So, you Christians, you are in ignorance thinking that this is coming to you. You are right in a way because yes, there's the angels of torture that's coming for you. Okay? But it ain't another system. It's not a Gentile system that's coming in the future. Okay? No, we were all born into it. Okay? We were born into the revived Roman Empire. Alright? We were born into the final moments. We were born into the toes mixed with miry clay and iron. So ain't no other nation coming to subdue Israel, okay? To subdue the true biblical people. Because this is the final time that we've been resurrected by way of the Spirit, okay? To bring the living word by the way of the Spirit. Now you Christians have an opportunity whether you're going to take heed to the real holy people or you're going to keep following after the worst of the heathen. Pope Innocent, being unsatisfied with the conduct of the bishops and officers of their several courts, whose zeal against the heretics appeared to him faint and not hard enough, I guess. All right, not mean enough. Languid. Let's see what this word is. Languid. Of a person or manner or gesture displaying or having a de-inclination for physical exertion or effort slowed and relaxed. So this Pope Innocent was like, y'all ain't working hard enough. Work harder at making them suffer. Work harder at destroying them. Work harder at exterminating them. Okay? Unhurried. Okay? Unenergetic. You know, this is the type of mentality that people have today towards those of us that don't have money. Imagine that. Yeah. The same exact mentality that this Pope Innocent had, and the same type of people that he was looking for to exterminate us, the same people he was looking for to torture us and literally squash all holiness from us, is the same type of heart condition, attitude, mentality that most of humanity have today concerning us. You look at us like we're lazy. You look at us like we're slothful, inactive, unhurried, relaxed, sluggish, unenergetic. Okay? You look at us as impassive, weak, all right? Feeble, all right? You look at the holy as this, okay? You look at those of us who are actually living a holy and righteous lifestyle as weak. Okay? So anyway, this is how Pope Innocent was looking at those who were, had already been initially hired. Okay? He was unsatisfied with the conduct of the bishops and officers of their several courts, whose zeal against the heretics appeared to him faint. Okay? And unhurried and all it is. Not hard enough. Alright? Thought he saw in the religious of the newly initiated orders of Saint Dominic and Saint Francis all the qualities necessary for his purpose. These monks were invaluably, hold on, INVIO. Did I spell that right? Where the hell did it go? I remember reading that. Okay, here. INVIOLAB. I did spell it right, so why is it not? Never to be broken. No, that's not what I said. Bruh, y'all messing with me. Y'all irritating me, bro. What in the hell? What the hell? Why can't I get this definition? INVIOLA. I don't know why it's not giving me this definition. No. Whatever. So, I don't know. These monks were inviolably attached to the interest of the court of Rome. Okay? The solitude and retirement they professed, and which, as afterwards appeared, began to grow tedious to them, allowed them time sufficient for procuring or pursuing this laudable work. The manners or the mean meaner. Ah, bro. Uh, I don't know of their. It's hard for me to read this old English, bro. All right, of their dress. Okay, the manners. Is that the manners? I don't know. Manners of their dress and of their something so different from what we find them in our days. And above all, the custom of begging up and down and the great humility they openly uh, profess must naturally make them consider the uh, post of inquisitor as an employment perfectly well adapted to uh, sooth or I don't know the ambition they might have still left. The general renunciation they made, even of the families from whence they were descended, was a great step towards their being insensible. Insensible. I don't know. To all those sensations which the ties of nature as well as those of civil life do usually inspire. All right. Besides the uh, I don't know what that is of their rule and the severities. Uh, the I don't know what that is. Authority? No, I don't know what that is. And the severities which they practiced on themselves was far from informing them with least compassion or uh, sensibility for their neighbor, since they had not the least tenderness for themselves. In a word, they were very zealous, as all uh, professors of newly established religions are generally found to be, learned according to the genius of that age, very well versed in the learning of the schools and the knowledge of the new canon law, okay? The knowledge of the new canon law. And by this time, they had pretty much stolen all of our records, okay? They stole all our records and all it is. They were forcing our people by torture to translate it, okay? Um, let's see. These were very well versed in the learning of the schools and the knowledge of the new canon law, not to mention that they were more immediately prompted to do all that lay in their power to extirpate the holy people, which they call heretics, because these were internally exclaiming against them, and left no stone unturned in order to ruin them in the minds of the people. Okay? The Pope, therefore, having found in these monks all the qualities he judged uh, perfect, I guess, okay, perfect for those he intended for inquisitors of the faith, made no difficulty to confide that employment to them, and they on the other side acted their parts so well as fully answered all the Pope or the court of Rome expected from them. So they got what they looked for. Okay? This how they stamped out holiness in our people. This is how they were able to just destroy us spiritually, mentally, and physically. Okay? And they took over. All right? Now, This is the types of things that they did to us in their Inquisition, as they call us barbarians and savages. Okay? They boiled us in hot oil. Okay? They sawed us in half. Alright? Pouring hot liquids or metals such as lead or gold into the mouth of a victim was a practice used on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean by the Romans and the Spanish Inquisition, among others. Several sources mention the bursting of internal organs. Molten gold was poured down his throat until his bowels burst. This is the type of people that spread your Christianity. Okay? This came from the Pope. This came from Rome. This came from the Vatican. You know that man y'all were crying over and worshiping like, oh, he's so righteous. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. We're just going to skip down here where is in the scriptures, okay? See, we telling you this is how you people view us, okay? So I tell you that I'm here giving you the oracles of eternal benevolence, and you sneer at me and you call me arrogant, but refusing to judge the fruit of the Spirit. I'm telling you that I am a true child of the living God. And you thumb your nose up at me and call me self-righteous. But you cast off the fruit of the Spirit that I operate in. Therefore, you think you don't have to listen to what I'm here to freely give unto you. I was created to reprove evil. Okay? Because I first had to be reproved. I first had to face my evil and overcome it. And I did that. So now I have to be obedient to speak the eternal living word by way of the Spirit, which automatically reproves the thoughts of humanity that has been made to go astray. Okay? You look at me as grievous. I'm grievous unto you. So grievous you're like, kill it. Get rid of it. We don't want it around. He is grievous unto us, even to behold. For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. You know I live a set apart lifestyle. But you also know that I am being required to pay money just like all of you. I'm being required to have money just like all of you. But I live a set apart lifestyle. I don't care about the carnal flesh. I live a spiritual lifestyle. I am a free spirit. But just because I'm in the mortal flesh like all of you, you want to force me to live a superficial reality concerned about sustaining my fleshly body. You don't care that I'm here to flow by way of the Spirit. You want to take me away from that and force me to do what you do. But I'm telling you that you're following a counterfeit, and your life is a counterfeit. You were given a counterfeit purpose from that which was given to you via eternal benevolence. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. You're all about selfishness and greed. Working jobs for the reward of money is nothing more than selfish ambition to please your fleshly body, to sustain your fleshly body. And you want to impose that reality upon me. You want me participating in it because you know that without this money, I am continuously long suffering. Nevertheless, I still abstain from selfish ambition. I just keep choosing to suffer. And all the people around me continue to be complacent with my long suffering, refusing to show compassion, refusing to show kindness, refusing to show any kind of mercy and or empathy, generosity, none of the fruits of the Spirit will they choose to demonstrate unto me. Continuously shutting up their bowels of compassion unto me. But I pronounce the end of the just to be blessed. Yes, that's in the scriptures. It's already been written. It's written in the stars. It's eternal truth. Eternal is more powerful than your temporary carnal life. Okay? Your temporary carnal reality. All right? This temporary time of the worst of the heathen. Okay? So, of course, the end of the just will be blessed. And yes, I do make my boast that eternal benevolence is my father, mother. Okay? That's whom I follow. I boast in that. I revel in that. Money is not my God. I don't have to obey the dictates of mortal men. So you say, let us see if his words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. This is exactly why you shut up your bowels of compassion. This is going on, this is the third month now that I didn't have $25 to pay for rent. So now it's 3 months behind. Yeah, I'm $75 in the hole. Thankfully, my apartment complex ain't pressing, they haven't gone forward with posting an eviction notice to my door. But I got no physical might in my hands. No, I don't. See, it's my enemies that's requiring this money from me. This is my ancestral land. And those who are requiring this money from me are foreigners upon this land. They don't really have authority over these lands, nor do they really have authority over my life. I belong to the true and living God. I had to make sure my volume was working. Thank you, Father. I am really happy that my volume is working and that I'm not doing this in vain. For if the just man be the son of God, he will help him. Oh, we gonna get into the scriptures later. Very, very soon. All right? Very, very soon. God's help to Israel. Okay? God's help to Israel. It's coming. Okay? But see, many of you want to act like the true and living God is going to open up the firmament and rain down money. As if the true and living God created money. As if the true and living God established this economic system. For if the just man be the son of God, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. Well, guess what? You're making yourselves my enemies. So when the true and living God does deliver me, do you seriously think he's going to deliver you too? Or will you be the portion of the adversary? Yeah, it be the latter. Because eternal benevolence ain't going to deliver all of you who made yourselves adversaries against his servants. You are deluding yourself. So you see, this inquisition here is in the scriptures, in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. Let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying, he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness has blinded them. Do you not think that it's wicked to shut up your bowels of compassion from someone who is compassionate? Your own wickedness has blinded you. And as for the mysteries of the true and living God, you don't know it. You're being led astray in all of them churches, them buildings made with human hands, listening to a pulpit pimping pastor that don't give a damn about their congregation, misleading your soul. Yes, not giving you what you need. You're being led to the pits of hell. You don't know the mysteries of God, not the true and living God. Your pastor don't know the mysteries of the true and living God. Because the only way that you can obtain the mysteries of the true and living God is through humility and obedience to the Spirit of truth, which comes to bring reproof. If you hate reproof, you will never know the mysteries of the true and living God. Those who did all of this torture to us in the Inquisition and who established this false ass reality that we were all born in, they don't even hope for the wages of righteousness. They done already sealed their fate. They chose their lot. Okay? They're in the making to become angels of torture. Alright? That's what makes them happy. It makes them happy to torture. All right? There's a word, I forget what the word is, but there is a certain word where people are happy about inflicting pain on others. There's a certain term. Okay, this term right here. Okay. All right. Okay, this right here. I can't pronounce it, okay? Is the experience of pleasure, joy, or self satisfaction that comes from, hold on, sadism. Okay, no, there's another word too. A condition in which people get pleasure from humiliating, harming, or hurting others. Okay, sadism. Okay, that's a word. But there was another word, and I can't think of the term. Okay, hold on. I think this might be it. Okay, this might be it. This might be it. Are you gonna go to the come on now. Alright, what in the hell is going on here? This is it.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude, okay? Is a German word, okay? You get joy out of harming others, okay? Is the experience of pleasure, joy, or self satisfaction that comes from learning of or witnessing the troubles, failures, pain, suffering, or humiliation of another. Like, how evil is that? How evil, bruh. Seriously, how evil is that? So these people are in the making to become evil angels, okay? They're in the making to become the angels of torture because that's where their pleasure and their joy is at. And eternal benevolence is all good, allows choice. You get to choose your eternal fate. Okay? We all get the desires of our heart. All right? Because eternal benevolence is all good. All right? And there's a purpose for all of us. All right? So anyway, they don't hope for the wages of righteousness. Okay? These wicked people that are in control of the earth today, they have no hope at all. They don't care for the wages of righteousness. Okay? They selected their fate. But there's a whole bunch of people in the middle. Okay? You don't know it, but you're attached to these wicked ass people. All right, so whatever their fate is about to be your fate. Unless you detach yourself from these wicked ass people and you change your mentality and you change your heart condition. Okay? So that way you if you have a hope of righteousness, all right? If you hope for the wages of righteousness, people, all right? If you want the wages of righteousness, then you want to stop casting me off, okay? Cuz I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you obtain the wages of righteousness. Okay? Because right now, you've been earning wages of wickedness. And you've been saving it upon the earth. And you're so proud of your selfish ambition. And the reason why is because this is what you've been taught by the worst of the heathen. Okay? This is why you gotta unlearn the wisdom of this world. You must unlearn the wisdom of this world, people. Okay? The scripture tell you to be not conformed to the ways of this world, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Okay? He tells you to come out of her, my people, so that you be not a partaker of her iniquity. Okay? You would not have any of this clarity and or understanding if he didn't seed us here. So it would be wise to stop hating on us and begin to embrace us. All right? Because you are not discerning the reward for the blameless souls. You are not discerning the reward for the blameless souls. Okay? His vessels of mercy. All right? You're not discerning us. So in order to be able to discern us, you must humble yourself. You must subdue your ego. I've done this. You're assuming that I'm arrogant. You're assuming that I have not went through this process. I would not be here. I would not be able to be here to help you go through this process if I had not went through it first. Okay? You got to stop assuming, because there's an ass in you in assume. Okay? You're making an ass of yourself. Eternal benevolence created us to be immortal. Okay? We are made to be an image of our own eternity. Okay? Our eternity is made up of our actions in mortality. Okay? Why is it that most of humanity is blatantly ignoring all of the actions? Like, we live in such a superficiality that actual actions are ignored. And the only thing that is focused upon is vain lip service and the outer package, surface level, smoke and mirrors. Okay? Everything's superficial, but no one's focusing upon the actual actions. It's time to begin to look at the actions. Okay? Because it's important. Your own eternity is going to be a combination of all your actions in mortality. Okay? So you need to understand that the devil is not your friend. The adversary is not your friend. Your ego is not your friend. Your flesh is not your friend. Okay? It wars against your spirit. Okay? Malevolent forces ain't your friend. Demons are not your friend. Okay? So why are you so cozy with them demons? Why are you so complacent pleasing your carnal flesh? Why do you refuse to subdue your ego? Why do you refuse to face them demons and overcome them? Through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. Okay? It is very imperative, people, that you separate yourself from the ways of this world, mentally and spiritually, and begin to physically demonstrate the attributes of the fruits of the Spirit. Okay? You already know where to love one another as thyself. This is a machine invented in the 15th century by Christian priest. Christian priest. Okay? Christian priest. All of you in your Christianity, what makes you think you are following something that's righteous? Machine invented in the 15th century by Christian priests to break the hands and fingers of scientists, artists, painters, sculptors that were deemed to be heretics. But these were the holy people in these lands. This is the people that were in these lands and in all the best lands all over the earth, which the Pope sent out a decree to invade our lands and put us to the sword and do all of these heinous things unto us in the name of God, in the verbal name of the Messiah. A critical history of the Inquisition of Spain. It is important to remark that the immense trade carried on by the Spanish Jews had thrown into their hands the greatest part of the wealth of the Pensinota. It's hard for me to see that. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Peninsula. Peninsula, okay. And that they had acquired great power and influence in Castile under Alfonso, is that the sixth, Peter I, and Henry II, and in Aragon under Peter the Fourth and John the First. The Christians, who could not rival them in industry, had almost all become their debtors. Okay? See, you got to understand, we were on top. Okay? All right? So we were in Portugal, we were in Spain, okay? So they were calling us the Spanish Jews, but it was a tribe of Judah that was in Spain, in Portugal, okay? Had thrown into their hands the greatest wealth of the peninsula, and that they had acquired great power and influence in Castile, okay, under Alfonso the Sixth. All right, there. Oh, now the Christians, who could not rival them in industry, and you know what? I'm thinking that some of these Spanish, what they call Jews, were also actually Edomites as well. Okay, because they had began infiltrating us. All right, so I'm gonna need to look more into this. All right, because I do know that at some point, the Edomites infiltrated into Judaism, okay, and they made it into a religion, okay, and they called themselves Jews, okay. So anyway, they might be them, okay? And then you gotta understand that the Edomites began working with the Gentile nations, okay, against the holy people, all right, of the covenant, okay. Now, understand here though, even if they mixed in, there were still some of us amongst them, okay. Now the Christians, they were the Gentiles at this time, all right, who could not rival them in industry, had almost all become their debtors, and envy soon made them the enemies of their creditors, okay? This disposition was fostered by evil minded men, and popular commotions were the consequence in almost all the towns of the two kingdoms. In 1391, 5,000 Jews were sacrificed to the fury of the people in different towns. Okay? Several were known to have escaped death by becoming Christians. Okay? So you got to understand, this was during the time that the Gentiles were spreading their erroneous Christianity. And though you may have had some of the Edomites that infiltrated into the Jews and whatnot, all right, calling themselves Jews, there were also some of the actual authentic tribe of Judah, all right, and the ones that were being sacrificed were most likely the holy people, okay, not the Edomites, all right, because eventually the Edomites began making a covenant with the Gentile nations, okay. Many others sought to save themselves in following their example, and in a short time, more than 1 million persons renounced the law of Moses to embrace the faith of Jesus Christ. Okay, the falsified Messiah. Okay, white Jesus. Okay, the Gentiles' God, okay, that they imposed, all right? The number of conversions increased considerably during the first 10 years of the 15th century. Today is 2025 now. And then we were all born in the 1900s and above. Okay, I don't know if there's any people upon the face of the earth that was born in the 1800s, okay? But people, you have all of this time. What makes you think the reality that we were all born in, seriously, in this time right now, why are you so complacent with everything that we've been taught to believe since we were born upon this earth, when they had all of this time to create this reality? Okay, because they took over. They destroyed the original people and they took over. Okay, so the number of conversions increased considerably during the first 10 years of the 15th century through the zeal of St. Vincent Ferrier and several other missionaries. They were seconded by the famous conferences which took place in 1413 between several rabbis and the converted Jew, Jerome de Santaf. The converted Jews were named New Christians. They were also called Marranos, or the cursed race, okay? To this day, you consider us the cursed seed of Ham. You consider us Canaan, but we are not Canaan. We're not Africans. We're not Hamites, okay? We are the true biblical people. And these are the things that were happening to us at the hands of those who call themselves Christians, okay? Now, so yes, they were calling us the cursed race they were also called Marianos, or the cursed race, from an oath which the Jews were in the habit of using among themselves. You know how we take on the moniker of what we're being called? Okay? They called us nigger. We changed it and we called each other nigger. All right? We basically take the term that we're called and we transform it in make it our own somehow. Okay, this is what we do. All right, the term black. Okay, we took the term black. All right, even though it means dead in law, many of my people pride themselves on being black and beautiful. Okay, like black culture and whatnot. What we do with the term. Okay, even though it is very harmful that we're using this term, we take the harmful aspect about it and we try to make it beautiful. Okay, that's what we do with everything y'all done the most to us. Okay, and everything all the evil that you've done to us, we've turned it around and made it beautiful. Okay, because we're the people of eternal benevolence. Okay, and we're proving it by way of the Spirit. Alright? So everything that you mean for evil, it's turned around and being used for good. Okay? As the fear of death was the cause of most of these conversions, many repented and secretly returned to Judaism, though they outwardly conformed to Christianity. All right? Now, not all of our people were involved in this religion of Judaism. Okay, that's a religion. That is a tradition of men. And you know, it is the very reason that we went into this captivity, because many of the traditions of this Judaism freaking involved blood sacrifice. Okay, the shedding of the blood of the innocent. Okay, there were many of the holy people. Okay, but practically all of the ones that had the Holy Spirit, we're empowered. We're empowered to stand against evil, and we don't conform to evil. Those who have the Holy Spirit, we don't conform to evil. All right, so those were the ones that were tortured to death. They became the martyrs. Okay. Um, the constraint to which they were obliged to submit was sometimes too painful, and several were discovered. All right, this was the ostensible reason for the establishment of the tribunal, which gave Ferdinand an opportunity of confiscating immense riches, in which Sextus the Fourth could not but approve, as it tended to augment the credit of the maxims of the court of Rome. Okay, so you know that this is how Rome got rich. Okay, we read in the video from yesterday that I started yesterday, uh we read how Rome got rich. Okay, that they stole it all from us. All right, they were stealing the gold from us and all of these things. Okay, and they were forcing us to work to get it for them. Okay, and they forced us to carry all of it. Okay. So bring their riches into the hands of the government. All right, sanction the measure to gain the point dearest to the court of Rome, an extent of domination. Charles V protected it from motives of policy, being convinced it was the only means of preventing the heresy of Luther from penetrating into Spain. Philip II was actuated by the superstition and tyranny to uphold it, and even extended its jurisdiction to the excise and made the exporters of horses into France liable to seizure by the officers of the tribunal as persons suspected of heresy. Okay? Heresy. All right? Heresy. Philip III, Philip IV, and Charles II pursued the same course, stimulated by similar fanaticism and imbecility, when the reunion of Portugal to Spain led to the discovery of many Jews. All right, those of the tribe of Judah. Okay, Philip V maintained the Inquisition from considerations of mistaken policy inherited from Louis. I have no idea what that Roman numeral is. It's 10. I get 14. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Okay, who made? Is it 24? I guess maybe 24, maybe, who made him believe that such rigor would ensure the tranquility of the kingdom, okay, which was always in danger when many religions were tolerated. All right, so they wanted to stamp us out so that they would not have anyone questioning their authority. They didn't want to have any opposition to what they were imposing upon all humanity and all creation. Okay, they wanted full control. Okay, they wanted the reins of the earth, all of it. They wanted the reins of religion. They wanted the reins of government. They wanted the reins of education. They wanted the reins of the medical industry. All of it. Okay. The worst of the heathen have been able to take the reins of the earth this way. Okay? Ferdinand IV and Charles III befriended this quote unquote holy office because they would not deviate from the course that their father had traced. And because the latter hated the Freemasons, okay? So the original Freemasons, the original secret societies were righteous, okay? But that the worst of the heathen took over it. And they took all of our spiritual records and they used it all for evil. And so they changed what was righteous into something that was abominable. Okay? Lastly, Charles IV supported the tribunal because the French Revolution seemed to justify a system of surveillance, and he found a firm support in the zeal of the inquisitors, and it cuts off there. Okay? Let's see. This is from a critical history of the Inquisition still, okay? What you need to understand, this was the worst of the heathen, okay? And they were stamping out us, they were stamping out our records, and they were imposing theirs, okay? Valdez had inserted in his catalog some books which had not only been considered Catholic, but were in the hands of everybody and full of true piety. Now, piety, another word for piety is holiness, sacredness, okay, purity, okay. Particularly some works of Don Hernandez de Talavera, the Venerable Juan Bartholomew. I'm going to skip all these names, okay? The catalog of Valdez contained other general prohibitions. This proscription included all Hebrew books, okay? This proscription included all Hebrew books and those in other tongues, which treated of they call it Jewish customs, okay, but it was the Israelite customs, all right. Those of the Arabs or those which in any way treated of Mohammedan religion, okay. All works composed or translated by what they called an heretic or a person condemned by the holy office, okay. You need to understand they're calling themselves holy, but they're not holy. They call themselves innocent, but they're not innocent. Okay? You need to understand those who they were calling heretics were actually the holy people. Okay? And though we were called a heretic, we were the holy people, they were condemning us by what they considered, what they called themselves the holy office, but they were wicked. I'm trying my best to get you people to understand, okay? All treaties in the Spanish language with a preface, letter, prologue, summary, notes, additions, paraphrase, explanation, glossary, or writing of that nature added by an heretic, okay? All sermons, writings, letters, discourses on the Christian religion, its mysteries, sacraments, or the Holy Scriptures, if these works were in edited manuscripts. This is the type of stuff they were outlawing, okay? Like that was thrown out the window. You cannot have this, okay? This was the type of stuff that they were confiscating and burning, okay, and torturing us because we were in possession of it, okay. Lastly, the same prohibition was extended to a multitude of translations of the Bible and other books which had been written by men of great piety, great holiness, okay, and had always been considered as proper guides, always been considered as proper guides to virtue, okay, righteousness, all right. And this number were the works of Dennis, all right, the Carthaginian, the author known by the name of the idiot, okay, the bishop Raffnews, and many other writers. In the 18th session of the Council of Trent, which began on the 26th February 1562, the bishops found that it was necessary to examine the books which were denounced as suspicious on account of the complaints which had been. Hold on. Let's see, to be examined. Okay, I don't know if this continuing. Alright, which have been translated. Alright, let's see. Okay, that the commentaries by heretics on works composed by Catholics should be suppressed. Alright, and that a book on medicine might be seized, although it was not mentioned in the index. Okay, when this edict was published, Francis Sanchez, professor of theology in the University of Salamanca, wrote to inform the Supreme Council that he had occupied himself for several years in examining dangerous books because it opposed what they were imposing. Okay, it opposed what they were imposing, and gave his opinion on the course which ought to be pursued. Okay, the council in consequence decreed that those theologians in the university who had studied the Oriental languages should be obliged, as well as other persons, to give up their Hebrew and Greek Bibles to the commissaries of the Holy Office, on pain of excommunication. Okay? Oh my God. Oh, dictatorship does not come from eternal benevolence. Okay? Eternal benevolence gives the freedom of choice, but malevolence imposes its will. Okay? The wicked impose and enforce their way. Okay? That the proprietors of Greek, Arabic, and Hebrew books not mentioned in the list should not be molested. That the order concerning the books concerning the books printed without the name of the author, related only to modern productions. That the request made by some persons to be allowed to keep Pomponius Meta, what is that word? Something. Oh, with the commentary of whatever that is, should be refused. That these books should be remitted to the council to be examined. That the order to seize all works containing what they considered errors. So, anything that was the truth, okay, and or gave great clarity and understanding, okay, they considered that to be errors, all right, should only be applied to modern books, and that the whatever this is of Duran, all right, bro, it's getting down here to I can't read some of this stuff. And the other authors of that class should be allowed to circulate. That the council, being informed that several catalogs of prohibited books existed, would unite them and compose one general catalog. In the year 1558, the terrible law of Philip II was published, which decreed the punishments of death and confiscation for all those who should sell, buy, keep, or read any of these texts. Okay? Now, the Messiah then told us that these devils would do this. Alright, this is from the Gospel of the Holy 12, Lection 44, verse 7. Let me check my time. Alright, I'm at 1:19. Okay, hour and 19 minutes. Alright, but there shall arise after you men of perverse minds, who shall through ignorance or through craft suppress many things which I have spoken unto you, and lay to me things which I never taught, sowing tares among the good wheat, which I have given you to sow in the world. Okay? This happened, and we were born into a world that was saturated with this. Okay? But understand, verse 8. Then shall the truth of the Most High endure the contradiction of sinners. For thus it has been, and thus it will be. But the time cometh when the things which they have hidden shall be revealed and made known, and the truth shall make free those which were bound. Thank you, Father. 1 second. Ooh. Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to get this right quick. This for the Nakamati. Okay. And there's something else that was upon my spirit too. Alright. The word who is above all was sent for one reason only, to announce what is unknown. He said there is nothing hidden that is not apparent, and what has not been known will be known. Okay? These people were sent to reveal what is hidden and expose the seven authorities of chaos and their godlessness. And so they were condemned to death, okay? When all those who are perfect appeared in a modeled bodies, okay? The righteous, benevolent spirits, okay, came in the mortal body, okay, the mortal flesh, all right. Of the, I can't see what that is, bro. What does that say? Of the rulers, is that rulers? And revealed matchless truth, okay? That's what we're doing right now. They put to shame all the wisdom of the gods. That's what we're doing right now, like today. Like my brother said, I got this screenshot from my brother Big Judah. All right? Their fate was condemnation. Their power was dried up. Their dominion was dissolved. Their forethought was empty, as was their glory. All right? The end of the age, okay? Before the end of the age, this whole region will shake with loud thunder. All right? The archons will lament because of their fear of death. The angels will grieve for their human beings. The demons will weep over their times and seasons, and their people will mourn and cry on account of their death. Then the age will come, and they will be disturbed. Their kings will be I can't read, it's too blurry. Will be something from the flaming sword, and will wage war against each other, so that the earth will be drunk from the blood that is poured out. The seas will be troubled by the troubled by something. War, is it war? And the sun will darken, and the moon will lose its light. The stars of the sky will abandon their circuits, and loud thunder will roar from the great power above all the powers of chaos, where the firmament of the female is located. She has produced the first creation, and now she will put away her wise fire of can't really see what that is, all right, and put on irrational wrath. All right, just talking about Pisces Sophia will drive out the gods of chaos, whom she had created along with the chief creator, and she will cast them down to the abyss. Now, see, this also mixes good with evil. Okay, I'm not trying to get too deep on it, but understand, you got to separate the good apart from evil. Okay. Now there is another record that was upon my spirit that I gotta prove this. Okay. 1 second. Let's see. Where is that? Rooftops. Okay. This sealed portion, chapter 26. Okay. And the words of the prophets shall come to pass in that day, in which they have said, Hearken, O you people of my church, even the church of the Lamb of the Most High God, saith the voice of him who dwells on high, and whose eyes are upon all men. Yea, verily I say, hearken you people from afar, and you that are upon the islands of the sea, listen together. For verily the voice of Yahusha is unto all men, and there is none to escape, and there is no eye that shall not see, neither ear that shall not hear, neither heart that shall not be penetrated. And the rebellious shall be pierced with much sorrow, for their iniquity shall be spoken upon the housetops, and their secret acts shall be revealed. And the voice of warning shall be unto all people by the mouths of my disciples, whom I have chosen in these last days. Okay? So all you people, see, man, these self-righteous people be trying to tell me there ain't no Levitical priesthood any longer. There ain't no Levitical priesthood. What makes you think you're a priest? I never called myself no priest. But I'm telling you that I gotta follow what's inscribed upon my spirit. And that's exactly what I've been doing. He has chosen me in these last days. Okay, so I'm being obedient. Okay, and they shall go forth. And none of you are gonna stay us. Though you have stonewalled me, you slow me down, you doing the most to try to hinder me, okay? Because you know everything in this false ass reality costs money. You know this money is being required of me in order to have a new PC. You know this money is being required of me in order to have space and all of these things, in order to buy a new external hard drive and, storage space. Okay, these things cost money, all right? But you're not going to stay us. For Yahusha has instructed us. Okay? And now I, Moroni, would that you should ponder these things in your heart. Even those of you who have received the sealed part of this gold plate that my Father has prepared for you. For you shall begin to understand in what way the iniquities of your leaders shall be spoken of upon the housetops. Okay? We're revealing the iniquity of your leaders, those who established this whole damn system on nothing but wickedness. Okay? So if you want to keep upholding your leaders who established and is upholding this wicked ass system over the true heirs of these lands, you are siding with those who are set for destruction. Okay? For you shall have the ability to be in your homes and in your places of businesses. I'm connecting all of this. I'm letting you know. Okay, I'm showing you proof. What chapter was that, bro? 26. Okay. Oh, I'll just do this. Okay, there we go. For you shall have the ability to be in your homes and in your places of businesses, and see and hear the reports of the actions of your leaders and your rulers, and your leaders shall attempt to hide their wickedness from before you, but their attempts shall be in vain. Behold, Yahusha shall use the miracles that Satan has introduced among you to do his will. So you have social media. All right? The people who created social media did never intend for the righteous ones of us to utilize it to bring the living word by the way of the spirit. That's why Facebook had to do all kinds of revamping and changes. This is why YouTube had to do all kinds of revamping and changes. This is why TikTok had to do all kinds of revamping. This is what they keep attacking the social medias and all of this because they're trying to shut down the truth. Okay, they're trying to hide their wickedness from before you, but they can't because they are not going to stay us. It is time for the truth to come out. They have had hundreds of years to do all of this wickedness and hide it, but now it's time for all of it to be revealed. Okay? And it is by way of these miracles that you shall hear of their iniquities upon your housetops. Okay? So now you can be in your place of businesses or wherever, and you can get this information on your smartphone or on your tablet or on your PC. Okay? They even got a smart TV to where you can get it on your TV. Okay? Now, here's some more proof that the Gentiles perverted everything. Okay? Epistle of Peter to James. And before I read this, people, let me go relieve my bladder right quick, okay? I'll be right back. Oh. All right, thank you for your patience, people. Give me one more second, cause I gotta take my water pill. Swelling is bad in my legs and feet. I gotta take my water pill and put on my compression socks, or whatever the heck. Ugh. That's the ever presence of benevolence. Hmm. keeps it real. You know, I ain't perfect in my body, working on it, but it ain't there yet. Uh, 1 second, putting on these tight stocking socks. I try to help the swelling a little bit. That's the ever presence of benevolence. Hopefully that helped a little bit. Dang it. I just don't have no ice in it. Okay. I'm going to try to breeze through this. Now, Peter to James, the Lord and Bishop of the Holy Church, under the Father of all, through the Messiah, wish his peace always. Doctrine of reserve. Alright, hold on. Alright. Knowing, my brother, your eager desire after that which is for the advantage of us all, I beg and beseech you not to communicate to any one of the Gentiles the books of my preachings which I sent to you, nor to any one of our own tribe before trial. But if anyone has been proved and found worthy, then to commit them to him, after the manner in which Moses delivered his books to the 70 who succeeded to his chair. Wherefore also the fruit of that caution appears even till now, for his countrymen to keep the same rule of monarchy and politely everywhere, being unable in any way to think otherwise, or to be led out of the way of the much indicating scriptures. For according to the rule delivered to them, they endeavor to correct the discordances of the scriptures. If anyone, happily not knowing the traditions, is confounded at the various utterances of the prophets, wherefore they charge no one to teach, unless he has first learned how the scriptures must be used. And thus they have among them one God, one law, one hope. Okay? That's benevolence. Okay? All right? The misrepresentation of Peter's doctrine, in order therefore that the like may also happen to those among us as to the 70, give the books of my preachings to our brethren with a like mystery of initiation, that they may indoctrinate those who wish to take part in teaching. All right? For if it be not so done, our word of truth will be rent into many opinions. And this I know, not being a prophet, but as already seeing the beginning of this very evil. Okay? Already seeing the beginning of this very evil. For some among the Gentiles have rejected my legal preaching, attaching themselves to certain lawless and trifling preaching of the man who is my enemy. Now that is Apostle Paul. Okay? Because Paul wanted to be the apostle to go to the Gentiles, but it was Peter that was initially chosen by the Messiah to be the one to go to the Gentiles. It was Peter that had the vision. Okay? It was Peter that Cornelius was sent to. Okay? Yes, the angel told Cornelius to go see Simon Peter, not Apostle Paul. Okay? So, anyway, Paul made himself an adversary to Peter and many of the disciples that were hand chosen by the Messiah. Okay? And these things some have attempted, while I am still alive, to transform my words by certain various interpretations in order to the dissolution of the law, as though I also myself were of such a mind, but did not freely proclaim it, which God forbid, for such a thing were to act in opposition to the law of God, which was spoken by Moses, and was borne witness to by our Messiah in respect to its eternal continuance. For thus he spoke, quote, the heavens and earth shall pass away, but one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. Okay? So even the heaven and the earth will eventually pass away, but nothing of the eternal law will ever pass away. Okay? That eternal law is divine love, life, and all things good. Okay? Benevolence. All right? That's the eternal law. All right? And this he has said, that all things might come to pass. But these men, professing I know not, to know my mind, undertake to explain my words. They're doing the same thing to me today. Okay? So, they act like they know what's in my heart better than I know what's in my heart. They just assume you just doing this for people to take care of you. You can't sell the word. Ain't no time have I tried to sell the word. I am not selling anything. Okay? Not selling a damn thing. I'm here freely giving you his oracles by the way of the Spirit. But people have assumed that I'm selling the word. People have assumed that I'm doing this for people to take care of me. But I'm doing this in order to help people spiritually. You need this spiritual clarity and understanding. And it's only right that you see about me. I'm seeing about you. Everything that I'm doing is in order to help you. So why wouldn't you want to help me with that which is for my physicality? See? They did the same thing to him. I know not how to know my mind. Undertake to explain my words. So they take it upon themselves to tell people what they think I mean. On why I won't earn money for a living. Which they have heard of me. They think they can more intelligently than I who spoke them telling their fellow men that this is my teaching, which indeed I never thought of. But it never crossed my mind to set up this channel for people to take care of me. It never crossed my mind to set up this channel so that I can take advantage of people. Okay? It never, none of them things crossed my mind. I set up this channel because I was led to do so by way of the Spirit. Okay? I put my Cash App on the channel because I was instructed to do so by the leading of the Spirit. Okay? So, these things which they claim about me too, I never thought of. Alright? But if, while I am still alive, they dare thus to misinterpret me, how much more will those who shall come after me dare to do so? So they did it, okay? They have distorted the true gospel and they spread their perversions, so much so that today, when the true servants of eternal benevolence have been sent to go forth in boldness, you're hating on us. Okay? You're projecting your false reality upon us. All right? Just because the majority of humanity have their heart and their mentality set after money does not mean that it is that way for the tender-hearted vessels of mercy. Okay? Um Now, that's all I want to get on that, because I just wanted to prove to you that the Gentiles, that, this is what they did. I showed you in the history books, okay? I'm showing you in this letter, this epistle of Peter to James, okay? I showed you in the Gospel of the Holy 12, okay? I'm not going to get all of that. We'll get that later. All right, now. This is from the Apocalypse, or the Coptic Apocalypse of Peter. Coptic Apocalypse of Peter. They do business in my word, and they will set forth a harsh fate, in which the race of immortal souls will run in vain until my return, for they will remain among them. And I have forgiveness of their transgressions into which they fell, because of the adversaries. I accepted their ransom from the slavery in which they existed, and I gave them freedom, for they will create an imitation remnant in the name of a dead man. Okay? Yes, the Antichrist, all right? Who is Hermes, the firstborn of unrighteousness, in order that the real light might not be believed by the little ones. Okay? But those of this sort, the adversaries, are the workers who will be cast into outer darkness, away from the children of light, for they will not enter, but neither do they permit those to enter who are going up to their approval and for their release. Okay? And others of them who have sensual natures think that they will perfect the wisdom of the brotherhood that really exists, the spiritual friendship with those companions rooted in fellowship, those through whom the wedding of incorruptibility shall be revealed. All right, the kindred race of the sisterhood will appear as an imitation. These are the ones who oppress their brothers, saying to them, through this our God has pity, sends salvation, and it cuts off, okay? That cuts off. All right, I only have pieces of this. I have bits and pieces of it. All right, therefore everything that does not abide will dissolve into that which does not exist. For deaf and blind ones join only with their own kind, but some will depart from evil words and deceptive mysteries. Others do not understand mysteries, although they speak of these things which they do not understand. Nevertheless, they will boast about the mystery of the truth which is theirs alone. And in haughtiness, they will begin in haughtiness to envy the immortal soul that has become dedicated to the true and living God. For every authority, principality, and power of the ages have always wanted to remain with these immortal souls from the foundation of the world, in order that those who do not abide, since they have been ignorant and have not been saved, may be glorified by those who do abide. So this is what they coveted it, okay? They coveted it, the glory of the immortal souls. All right, those who actually do contain the holy oracles. Okay, the wicked were able to obtain all of these holy oracles, and they used it for wickedness. Okay, and they spread their perversions all over the earth, and they literally corrupted the mentality and the heart condition of all of humanity. Okay, because they wanted the glory for themselves in this mortality. Okay, they're never going to get immortal glory. Okay, they're only going to get this glory temporarily. So you're glorifying these billionaires. You're glorifying your pulpit pimping pastors. You're glorifying the wicked. Okay? And you're attaching yourself to these wicked devils. Okay? Who don't even have any kind of hope to attain the wages of righteousness. Okay? Therefore, you have attached yourself to the worst of the heathen, and you're sealing your fate. The same fate that they're going to get, you're going to get. They're just going to reap more than you because they're going to reap your fate as well. Okay? You're going to reap your fate according to your deeds. And you're being misled by the worst of the heathen. Okay? You think that all you got to do is say Jesus. All you got to do is confess and believe in Jesus. That you ain't got to worry about your actions. You don't have to worry about detaching yourself from this satanic ass system. And you don't have to worry about assisting the remnant within the remnant of the true holy people that's been in this captivity for centuries. You don't think that you got to do anything. Okay? You're sadly mistaken. Okay? Yes, you do. You must confess eternal benevolence with your actions. Okay? Hell, you've been confessing the adversary with your actions this whole time in ignorance. Okay, so you're gonna have to renounce it. Alright? You're gonna have to renounce evil and embrace righteousness. Okay? For the immortal soul receives power through an intellectual spirit, and immediately she is joined by one of those who have been misled, and others who are numerous and who oppose the truth, who are the messengers of error, will concoct their error and their law against the truth. Okay? That cuts off. Alright? Now, you are glorifying these type of people. The whole world been glorifying them people. Okay? Hold on a second, people. I got a text. I'll be having to check my text. Okay. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I think my neighbor is trying to get a hold of me. Yeah, my neighbor's trying to get a hold of me. Yeah, hold on. I'm getting ready to wrap this up because we're about to start a new one anyway. I'm gonna have to come back because before we get into these scriptures and whatnot. So you see, these are the type of people that's being glorified. Okay. So because of all of this wickedness, people, because all of this wickedness that's been done, okay, upon the earth, and I am aware of how the wicked have obtained the reins of the earth, okay, I am no longer complacent with them having the reins of the earth, okay. I am no longer gonna obey the mandates and dictates of the worst of the heathen, okay. So if I'm thrown into this blazing furnace, which clearly I am, going on 3 months unable to pay my rent, okay, I have no money. There's 31 cents in my checking account, okay. There's $1 and some change on my Cash App. $0 in PayPal, okay. So I have less than $2 dollars or so to my name. Okay, there's 30 cents on the table, a quarter and a nickel. That's all the finances that I have to my name. So clearly, I am thrown into this blazing furnace. All right? For the longest time, people have refused to assist me. Okay? But I know that the God I serve is able to deliver me from this. All right? The God I serve, I know, is able to rescue me from the hand of this tyranny. Okay? Yes, will rescue me from the hand of the wicked. All you kings of the earth, with all your prosperity. One second. All right, so even if he does not deliver me right away, okay? Because it's been 3 years of this, people. All right? My channel's been going for 4 years. But within the first year, I was doing both, okay? I had my independent contracting business going. So I had steady income, okay? Until I was called out of earning money for a living and doing this full time. So for the past 3 years, I've been doing this full time, okay? And each year, the hands get more closed, okay? Each year, because the messages get a little bit harder, okay? And so it became less and less support, all right, to the point to where it's been hardly no support whatsoever, okay. So therefore, I've been proving that even if he doesn't deliver me right away, I've been showing you, I've been proving to you, oh kings of the earth, with all your prosperity, that I will not bow down and serve your God of money. No, I will not serve your wicked ass economic system, nor worship the image of the beast system, which is that money, okay, that has been established by brute force. All right? You don't condemn these people, but you want to condemn me and call me evil because I'm in poverty. So anyway, let me go ahead and end this part, and I'll be back to finish up with these scriptures. Okay, I got a lot more I need to bring out to you. All right, and we gonna talk about God's help. Okay, yeah, we gonna talk about God's help. Okay, yeah. And we gonna talk about some things, okay? We might go into the shepherd of harmonies and a couple of more things, okay? And we gonna end it, all right? So shalom.